What's up? You guys can hear me, right? It worked earlier. I was going to assume that you can. Yes, they told me to, instead of just sitting here and staring at the camera, waiting for 10 o'clock to roll by, that I'm supposed to, I'm share a little bit about my life recently. So yeah, life's been pretty crazy. Like literally the last 4 days, like I basically worked or done something from like sun up to sundown. And I'm a little beat, but the Lord gave enough rest and room in my life to like, kind of take the morning easy this morning and just kind of get ready for this and be here. And so that's good. That's a good thing. And didn't have to come this morning and feel super stressed out or had to like rush this or whatever. So that's good. But yeah, as you know, me and Natalie are married, and so a lot of our life recently has been taking care of our little man Asaph. He was a handful this morning. That was great. Anybody with kids, you know exactly what we're talking about. Other than that, just been real busy during the season, hanging out with the Bible study guys, getting our UMKC Bible study going. It's not really at UMKC anymore. And also I have a small roofing business, and I actually get to work with a couple of guys from church, if you know Isai or Gabe. So I spend 40, 50 hours a week with them. That's fun. So it's good to get to spend every day with brothers and have a business. And like you'd think maybe during this time it would have slowed down, but there was a lot of people that are working on projects, a lot of people that are taking this time to set aside money and resources and opportunity to fix their house, to add to their house, to do whatever. And so that's been cool, and I'm really thankful that that I've got like, it's not going to stop raining, right? Like people always are going to need roofs. They're always going to be leaking. And so there's a lot of job security in that. And I'm thankful for that it's going to keep raining no matter what, which is kind of funny because like when it rains, I can't work. And so I'm kind of like bummed out. Like, dang, I can't work. Got laid off today. Then I realized like, well, if it didn't rain, then I wouldn't have a job. So sometimes I just kind of hopes it always rains at night and instead of during the day. But yeah, I guess it's 10 o'clock now, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started and share with you in the word here. So I'm just gonna pray and get started. Lord, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that I get to come before your book and come before your people and just get to read what you had to say. And so I was asking for your spirit to be here and for your spirit to be the one that's guiding me to say whatever you'd have us to say. And Lord, for your spirit to also be in my brothers and sisters' hearts, for them to be hearing and to be ready to receive whatever we have from them. I know, like when I first came to the story, I actually like started studying out the parting of the Red Sea, and it was almost like something I was too used to. But God, I never want to get too used to your word. I never want to take it for granted. And maybe we need to take a second look at those simple stories, because I know that I needed to for this one. So yeah, we're just trusting you, God. We ask this all in your son's name. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at Exodus 14 today. And like I said, it's just simply the story of God parting the Red Sea. And maybe you've heard like 100 messages, or you know exactly where I'm going. Like, God's going to divide the waters in your life. And that's kind of where I'm going. But there's another little tidbit that I'd never noticed before. And so maybe just to back up a little bit and to give a little backstory, just kind of get our brains ready, or for anyone who's not familiar to know where we're at and how we got here. Well, God set apart a family on earth, the Israelites, and said, out of you and your family, I'm going to make a nation. I'm going to give you land in the Middle East, and I'm going to bless you and use you to do many things. And that's what a lot of the Bible is about, right? This family in the Middle East that we're non-Israelites in a whole different continent away, and we're sitting here talking about them. So if that's not clear that God was going to use them and do something, then that is. But ultimately, before they got their stuff straight, they ended up in slavery outside the land that God had promised them. And so God finally came to a point where it's like, it's time. I'm getting my people, I'm getting my family out, and I'm bringing them into the land I promised them. And so God had to do all these plagues to convince Pharaoh and Egypt to let them leave. And finally, they're gone, they're leaving. But here's the thing. So they've left, they've started their journey, but Pharaoh changed his mind. He's like, I'm going after them. I want them back. I don't care all the plagues. I don't care everything that just happened. I'm getting the Israelites back. And so, here's where I read through the story, and I noticed a detail I hadn't before. So I'm going to go ahead and read. So I'm in Exodus 14. I'm going to be reading verses 1 through 3. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal Zephon, before it shall ye encamp by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land, the wilderness has shut them in. And so until this time that I've gone through the story, I'd never noticed that, we always imagine that the Israelites, they're like running from the Egyptians, and then God just parts the sea and they run through it and then closes it, whatever. But like in the midst of that, God intentionally tells them, hey, I want you to go here. I want you to encamp here in this exact specific location by the sea. And what's going to happen is Pharaoh's going to see you there, and he's going to say, oh, they're stuck. They're entangled. The wilderness, the land around them, and they got the sea to their back. Like, they're stuck. They're not going anywhere. This is where I'm gonna jump on him and I'm gonna get him. And so we see here that through like the Israelites' obedience to be here, in man's perspective, they look trapped. From Pharaoh's perspective, like this is what he's been doing. His whole military career, he finds his enemies, he traps them, he uses his might, he uses his power, his speed, he uses manly logic to figure out when the opportunity is to strike. And guys, and if any of those Israelites in that camp had the same mindset as the Egyptians, where they were looking at things through physical eyes, they would have looked around and agreed with the Egyptians. They would have said, oh, look at those bushes over there, look at that gorge. There's literally an entire body of water behind me, and God told us to be here, and this is like the worst place to be. We're trapped here. They got chariots, they got horses, they've got everything. They're gonna get us. And so here's the important thing: like God doesn't see that way. When God looks at your life, and He looks at where He told you to be, and He maybe even like this literally basically an ocean behind you. To you, that's an insurmountable obstacle. And to the world, that also that's how everyone sees it. But in God's eyes, God was like, oh yeah, that's nothing, dude. Like I made that sea. I made that. Like someday I'm gonna walk on it. Like God doesn't care about the sea. But if we let God the perspective, we're not going to see that the way God sees that. I mean, Pharaoh even had the opportunity to see that. He had the opportunity to see that, like, this guy's made it hail, he's made it dark, he's brought locusts. Like, this guy's got a lot of power. But because his people now are trapped with between some water, maybe some like precarious landscape. I finally beat this God. I finally beat this people. It's in the bag. And so when I got to this and I saw this, I realized I've got some red seas in my life. Like there's things I look at and I'm like, it's over. I'm not getting past this obstacle. This is too much. And realizing that like our God is a God that takes us and He says, go to this place where it looks like you can't get out, to where it looks like only I can deliver you. And heck, I'm even going to send some enemies after you. Because at the end of the day, when God parted that water and the Israelites walked through it, like, do you think a single person in the last, 5,000 years or so has ever talked about, man, the Israelites were really good at walking through dry ground between two walls of water. They just had that down, and I'm glad they trained in the wilderness. No, not a single person has ever in all of history started bragging about how good the Israelites were at walking through water. But that, guys, if we're looking at obstacles in our life and we're trying to weasel our way out of them, if I'm going to work more hours, I'm going to I'm going to get a new job. I'm going to cancel this, do this. I'm going to save more money. I'm going to not tithe. I'm going to whatever you think it is that you think you can walk through this obstacle yourself. That's not how it gets done. And maybe it's going to look like you maybe making some practical changes in your life in obedience to God. But in all reality, if you're going to make it through an obstacle that's insurmountable, one that you couldn't do, it's going to be because God helped you. It's going to be because he parted the seas. And maybe so think about, maybe there's a sea in your life right now where you can look in the past at seas you've been through. Maybe you can notice that God actually brought you there, that maybe it was even by your obedience that you ended up on a path where you were in a really hard place. Maybe you're in that hard place right now, or maybe you don't have this, and there's a hard place to come. But the lesson we need to learn from this whole story is that Jesus Christ has put us in this hard position, and we need to trust him and understand that even if it's a sea to our back and enemies coming toward us, he's going to make a way because he wants to use us and he wants to bring glory to his name. And you know what people have talked about for the last 5,000 years? People have talked about how many people that aren't even churched or aren't even don't even know the Bible. Everyone knows the story of the power of a God that can part the sea so that you can walk through it. And that's what God wants. People want to know his power, his might, his word. People want to tell the stories of his works. And so, guys, I just really encourage you to, wherever you see that sea is in your life, that's your perspective. That you see that and you see it as an opportunity for you to proclaim how mighty God is in your life. Because if we're going to do things right, if we're going to have joy, if we're going to have peace, it's going to come from God's glory. It's not going to come by you and your joy or how you figured it out or how things are just okay. God doesn't say he's glorified by things being peaceful in your life. He's glorified by delivering you from hard times and having you walk through a sea. I think we can trust him for that, right? So yeah, Lord, I'm just thankful for you. I'm thankful for your word. And I'm thankful that simple things like details in a story like this can actually preach a whole little message on a Thursday morning. So Lord, we love you and we trust you. And I'm asking for your spirit to be within us and showing all of us the season in our life that we haven't been trusting you for, that we haven't been seeing as an opportunity for you to be glorified. That we stop asking why God did you put me here, and say, I already know why you put me here. It's because you're going to deliver me. God, you are the great deliverer, and I'm so thankful for you and for your son and for the blood you shed on the cross, and that I got to cry out for. I got to ask you, Jesus, save me. Thank you for being the Savior, and thank you for all that you do. It's in his name that we ask these things. Amen. Bye, guys.